Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed your tea break. Just about everyone in this room lives and breathes fresh produce most of their daily life. That's why we're in this industry. That's what you all are here for. But it'd be fair to say that the vast proportion of the population out there don't. For most people, fruit and veg is not a big part of their daily thinking every day as they go about their life. About 6 months ago, Michael Simonetta and I met a gentleman who 3 or 4 years ago would have been very representative of the vast proportion of the population. And when we first started talking to him, we thought, well, here's another guy who's representing the general population, not part of our industry. And what really amazed us in a very short space of time was not only his huge passion for fruit and vegetables, but even more extraordinarily, the way he'd able to enthuse and empower so many others to actually embrace fruit and vegetable in their lives. And at that point, we said, we really have got to do something. It now gives me great pleasure to introduce entrepreneur, businessman, filmmaker, and fruit and vegetable passionate advocate, Joe Cross.
Great to be here. It's Michael's right in that 4 years ago, if someone had said to me that I'd be addressing the national fruit and vegetable people, the PMA, and getting up to talk about fruit and vegetables, they would have said they got rocks in their head. I'm going to show you a photo of where I was. This was me, 41 years of age, 2007. My life had been a life where I had been focusing very much on wealth and not so much on health. I started in the futures business. I left school at 17, didn't go to college. I started out in Sydney running mail, got down to the futures floor. You know where that is, that's where they all scream out and trading like the stock exchange. I saw lots of guys screaming. I thought, I've got to get in there and give that a go. So at 17, I started. Basically, I realised very quickly that, this is a place you can make a lot of money. You can actually all of a sudden propel yourself. It's about materialism, and off I was on this path. I'd been an athlete at school. But very quickly, business lunches, focusing on building my business. And as we all know, life goes pretty quick. It goes really quick. And I woke up at 40 years of age, and I was 145 kilos. I'd been on medication for 8 years, night and day, taking a powerful steroid known as prednisone for an autoimmune disease, which when I got sick, I did what everyone did. I went to the doctor and said, give me a pill. Doctor gave me a pill. That was perfect. After 6 weeks, I sort of said, listen, how long am I going to keep taking these pills for? And he said, Joe, you're going to be on them for life. And at that moment, even though I was 32 at the time, it didn't really hit me what that meant. Didn't really hit me. And I kept going. I kept going down my path of eating meat pies, pizzas, beers, smoking cigarettes, chocolate ice cream, you name it, I had it. Fruit and vegetables didn't even exist. Even though I knew they were good for me, I didn't eat them, unless they were on a hamburger or on a pizza. I think we all know about that. So it was sort of like, for me, after a period of time, I started to think about my own mortality. And I don't know if any of you have sort of done this, but I've got a saying that we spend the first 40 years of our life trying to kill ourselves and the next 40 trying to stay alive. And getting to 40, for me, was that moment. It was almost like 39, I was a different person. When I woke up on my 40th birthday, it was like, boy, when I was at school, when I was like 10 or 12, we'd hear about guys in the classes, fathers dying of heart attacks, and they were really old. They were 40. And here I was, all of a sudden 40. So I started to connect the dots that I'm actually a walking time bomb. 145 kilos on medication that's going to shorten my lifespan. Once you start looking at what steroids and prednisone does and the high doses that I was on, I'm thinking, boy, oh boy, maybe not only half my life is over, maybe 2/3. So I didn't want to end up here. I didn't want to end up there. So I started to think, what can I do? What can I do to prevent that from happening? So I started to do what I do, which is get into research and start looking at things. And it was 2007, so I started thinking about death. Not a great subject, but you know what? We've got to dive into it. How are you going to die? How am I going to die? So I started looking at the numbers, and the numbers blew me away. It completely scared the bejeebers out of me. This is in America. So in 2007, there was just under 2.5 million deaths recorded. Just by reference, in Australia, it was around 137,000 deaths. But our numbers reflect incredibly close to what the US is doing. We're like the 51st state. Look at the top two. 50%. Heart disease, cancer. It's like, take this room, let's just draw a line down. Over here, look around. Cancer, heart disease. That's how you're going to die. Is it preventable? You bet it is. What's the solution? You guys actually are the solution. But we're going to get to that later. Stroke, 5%. What I think's quite interesting is that diabetes, even though it's down there at 3%, over half of those heart disease cases are caused from early onset diabetes now, which is quite extraordinary. So what we have here is we had a situation where I started thinking about how am I going to die. I went to a Professor Ronald Penny, and he told me something that was the changing point, where he said, Joe, 70% of all diseases are caused by lifestyle choices. 70%. So I said, boy, I need to find out if the disease I've got, the one that I've been suffering for 8 years, and I mean suffering, this is a disease that simply touching somebody else, I would get a swelling welt or a hive or some kind of puffiness. I couldn't wear a belt because the belt was too tight around my waist. I'd get welts all around here. Couldn't hold a baby. Couldn't go to the groceries and hold the plastic bags. Couldn't do any of that. Sex, I had to invent completely new ways. Completely new, let me tell you. That's my next book. But a disease of touch, that is a crippling thing. It's crippling. And of course, when you're taking medication and you've got to take the doses so that the touch doesn't actually occur, no one knows you're sick. It's different if you've got like crutches and a broken leg, people get out of your road. But you're a big guy, can you come over and help me move the furniture, Joe? And you get sick of telling people that you're sick because they want to know about it, so you just do it and you suffer later. So I thought to myself, you know what? All this wealth, what good is it in that graveyard? So I decided to sell up my company, which I'd founded in early 90s. I took a chunk of that money and I said, what have I done for me and what have I done for the rest of the world? And I decided to do something. I went to the United States, I bought a truck, I bought a juicer, like a Breville one, back to the Aussies, and I loaded up my truck with fruits and vegetables. And this is what happened. 20 years ago, this is what I saw when I looked in the mirror. Looking good. Well, the years rolled by and I kept seeing that same fit-looking bloke looking back at me. Who was I kidding? I didn't look like that anymore. I looked like I've swallowed a sheep.
All right, Joe, come on over and step on the scale over here.
Fat.
We could be brothers here, right?
Here, look. I mean, it's sitting here. Sick.
The kids of today are not expected to live as long as their parents. This is really serious.
And nearly dead.
And I might have already had a heart attack and died.
My name's Joe Cross. I've just arrived in the United States. I'm not going to eat any of your food.
61% of the American diet today is processed foods.
Convenience foods.
Processed foods don't even have 1/10 the original nutrients that were in the food in the native state.
When was the last time you saw this growing on a tree?
This would never.
Why are people eating it?
Because it's stupid.
I came to America to save myself.
I've got a thing called chronic urticaria.
I've been taking pills night and day.
Looking at these bottles here, it doesn't look good, does it?
I have a plan.
All I'm going to do is drink juice. Green juice. 60 days.
What kind of juice?
I need fresh vegetable and fruit juice. So what sort of food do you eat?
I ain't alive.
Pork chops, potatoes, fried foods.
I don't know, but I hope God got ribs in heaven. I'm a happy fat guy.
How did you get overweight?
I don't know.
I went 4 years one time eating only on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
This is your lunch. Look at that. That's a lot of food right there.
I'm on a juice fast.
A what? Just drinking juice.
Looks very interesting.
What do you think?
That's okay.
I'm determined to adopt a healthy lifestyle. But first, I have to get through the next 60 days.
The first few days are the toughest. Not eating, it's kind of like you're cutting yourself off from society.
Juice fasting, you're still eating something. You're drinking nutrients, particularly a lot of micronutrients that are coming from fruits and vegetables.
I'm not going for skinny, I'm just going for healthy. I get migraine headaches if I smell certain things or if I eat certain things. And I mean literally a migraine headache that can make me sick, can't see, can't hear, throwing up, the whole bit.
I'm a type of guy that hasn't gone 4 hours without eating an entire meal.
I would say generally we do eat fairly balanced meals. I don't live on Cheetos.
Joe, this is Phil. Is it too late to ask for help?
I don't want any of my kids to see me like this. I'm not angry. I'm just in pain.
I offered him help. I've got to get over there and see what I can do. Good luck, mate.
It's a tough thing, the emotional attachment to food. It's bloody tough.
I'm
Starving. I gotta watch that and drink this.
It's infectious, this healthy lifestyle. All these people around me are all eating micronutrient food. They're all going to the gym. This might really be working.
As I travelled across the country, what I gained was far more than what I lost.
Is that you?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's you!
Who would have thought I'd get excited about a broccoli salad?
A pelvis, hip bone, like here. I haven't felt that for 10 years.
The point here is we have an unprecedented opportunity in human history to be healthier and live longer than ever before.
I don't have the migraines anymore, so that is a big, huge plus. I feel like I'm 21 years old again.
Feeling younger, I feel more energetic. I feel like I can focus better mentally.
And I learned that the best way to change the world is to change yourself.
It's becoming a long laundry list of people that are borrowing my juicer.
Well, that's an apple.
Today I just weighed myself and I'm down 6 bowling balls, ladies and gentlemen.
I can't tell you how good I feel. I don't take any medication anymore, and that is an absolute miracle.
He thinks he's a male model right now.
They were having a screening of Joe's film, and I had this eureka moment and said, this is it. The next day, I started juicing. I sleep great, my blood pressure's correct. It all happened by seeing this film with Joe.
This has exceeded every expectation I had. I feel like I've got a second chance.
You're a new person.
Well, I'm trying, mate.
I'd do it again. In fact, I probably will.
No one's going to come along and wave a magic wand and you're going to lose 10 inches off your gut. It's not going to happen. The one thing I've learned, it's up to us, each and every one of us. Thank you. So it's a pretty crazy thing to do. I'd never made a film before. In fact, I'd never been in front of a camera before. I fancied myself at telling a story, but it was like, how do you make a movie about basically eating